from what I've heard, just wait. Let me just get the live stream link. There we go. Share. Everyone, I'm going live now talking to Lewis. There we go. Okay. And then, bam, there we go.
I don't think I've ever picked a category for my YouTube video. That's very interesting.
Yeah, by default it's something, I don't know. Your category, if you go to upload default or something like that, I think category is among them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it like a mandatory thing to select every time people upload?
I don't. Maybe you don't have. Maybe it's like. Maybe you don't. I don't know what the upload default is. Whether it's not selected or whether it's set to something automatically.
Oh.
But from another YouTuber friend, Melissa, she said she had better results when she set it to entertainment instead of people and vlogs. So she said try setting it to entertainment. I was like, okay. So I instead of people and vlogs, I just set mine to entertainment. If it's unless it's gaming, then I set it to gaming. But
Interesting.
yeah, so this latest video of yours of the plastic surgery in Korea, is that the first video where you set your background as just from you sitting at your chair and your desk?
Oh yeah, this is the first one where I tried this in this new place since I moved.
Oh wait, I mean you've filmed before in this place, but you set it up, right? The different setting.
Yeah, it would have been exactly the camera would have been right there next to my
Oh,
door.
okay,
They would be looking towards my desk,
right.
where like this other corner that you can't see would just be a wall, a corner of my room with a wall
Uh huh.
and part of a window. So I thought there was less things there from that perspective, so it's cleaner.
Mm.
But then I was filming, which video was I filming? The elderly shoplifting one, the Japanese elderly shoplifting video from
Mhm.
that perspective. And I remember that morning I set it up. Took me almost 30 minutes. And by the time
Mm.
I set it up, I was tired. And then I had to film.
Mhm.
And because the camera is right there next to the door and the lights are beside the camera, it effectively blocked me into the room, so I couldn't even get out of the room. To get out of the room, I need to like squiggle myself, next to the camera and the light, try not to touch it because otherwise the perspective the background would have shifted a little. So I had to dodge all my equipment out of my room. I remember I was thirsty, so I wanted to go to the kitchen and get water, and that was like a whole event. And then I came back, I was even more tired. And I was
Mm.
just like, this is not worth it. I don't care how good this background looks. It just by the time I set it up, I'm so tired and I don't want to film anymore. Like
uh.
I feel like I've done a whole day's work just setting this whole thing up. Um, and
There's that
I
much
remember
to
think
set up, eh?
yeah, sometimes yeah, because there are so many steps involved, and if I miss a step, it annoys me. And sometimes if you miss like if you forget to turn on the microphone, for instance, then you're not talking into anything,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
You're not recording. So, some of the steps are crucial. So I was like on high alert while I'm setting up, making sure that I'm not missing anything.
Mm.
Um, so it reminded me of how like in traditional media, when you have a news report, the whole crew will go to the scene
Mhm.
and they'll set up the whole scene there, and there will be a reporter. There'll be like one take if it's live,
Mhm.
and someone will say action, and then you'll start like recording. You're actually outside in front of the event,
Mhm.
and that was a whole bit of effort to set it up. They need to hire a whole team for that, and I
Mhm.
thought that it was meaningful for them because they're reporting the news, and the fact that they're right there at the scene in front of the news adds something to the content.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, like I don't know if it added to my content at all, the fact that I put in all this effort, effectively turned my recording into a almost like a live recording in traditional media.
Mm.
Uh, Blocking myself in my room to do this, and I didn't think it really add that much to my video.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I was just thinking of trying this out. Um, and it felt better for sure when I film because I'm just sitting here. It's just where I am when I work.
Mm-hmm.
It feels more natural. So if insofar as my audience wants to get a more authentic version of me, I think this environment kind of brings that out of me more naturally than when I have to set up the whole scene.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I would experiment with this perspective a little more. Yeah.
Do you what you have a DSLR camera to film?
Yeah, I do.
So that's why you
It's not
set it
my.
up on your desk.
Oh, so I have a teleprompter,
Oh.
and I realized the teleprompter has a flat bottom, so it technically just sits on my desk because the bottom is flat.
Mm.
Um, I don't know how how bizarre this realization is for me to have. I always thought the constraint was my tripod because I need to find a place to put my tripod, and right there behind my desk, next to my door, was the only reasonable place to put it. But no, the bottom of the teleprompter has always been flat, and it has always been capable of sitting on my desk by itself, and the camera fits in the teleprompter. So it could
Like,
always
oh.
just be on my desk this whole time. So all I did was, I have the teleprompter on my desk flat, like a cup sits flat on the desk.
Okay.
It's just a boxy thing that sits on my desk. It could always have done that for the whole, I don't know how many months I've owned this thing. It could always have been able to do it. I was just not aware of it. Um, but yeah, all I did is put the teleprompter on my desk, and I put the camera in the teleprompter, and I just click record. So it's much easier.
So you
Uh,
you don't even elevate it with some books or something like that. It's just sitting right on your desk. I'm just curious, like, because I thought teleprompters, most people use their iPad or phone or something like that for a teleprompter. You actually bought a box of a teleprompter.
no, it's the one you're talking about. You're thinking of the same thing that I'm using.
Oh.
Um, but the iPad would fit at the very bottom. So there's like a little tray that comes out at the bottom.
Oh,
You put
okay.
the iPad there that reflects onto a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the iPad is the tray that comes out is on the same level as the bottom of the teleprompter, so it's just flat. As you pull
Mm-hmm.
out the tray, it actually extend the flat surface, so it actually makes it more steady.
Oh, okay.
Um, the only thing I didn't like about this setup is it's perfectly eye level to me.
Oh.
I can't angle it. Uh, like I actually thought it looks more natural if the teleprompter is on the same level as my eye, but pointed down a little bit like what you have right now. I think
Right.
you're kind of a little bit of a bird's eye view down towards yourself a little bit, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's up here. It's up
yeah,
at this level, yeah, and
and then it points down slightly. I think
points
that's the
down
most
slightly, yeah.
natural look.
Really?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so the way that I have it set it up, because it lies flat on my desk, it can only be, it actually is on the same level as my chest, and then the whole frame is like this big. So my head would be on the top of the frame. But it's not on the level of my eyes, so I'm not making direct eye contact, leveled eye contact with the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Rather, it's on the level of my chest, so I'm looking down at the audience a little bit, and I find that the end results a bit unnatural. Um, I don't know how big of a difference it makes, but I want to experiment with it a little more so that I can actually figure out a way to put it on the same eye level as me, but
Mm-hmm.
angle it down a little bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
haven't figured out how to do it yet, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it a few more try.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, huh. Timmy, by the way, was in the chat. He said, "OMG, it's Paul and Lewis."
Mhm.
And then Devin
Paul,
said,
yeah, Paul and Lewis combo actually occurs quite frequently.
"Uh-huh."
It's not, yeah.
Yeah, and then Saturday streams. Heck yeah, yeah, Saturday
Yeah.
streams. Um,
Oh, Timmy is feeding his baby.
yeah, he's feeding his baby.
That's the comment from Timmy.
Yeah. Um, oh, that's a nice mug. Um, yeah, I didn't I thought this would be better closer to eye level, but I'm surprised you say this camera is like it's good to have it a bit above like it's at almost the same level as my head. This well, it's
Oh
like
yeah.
forehead level.
Yes, I feel like it's good somewhere around your head
Yeah.
and then point it down so that your head
Yeah.
is actually the main uh, uh, the the main focus of the video.
Mhm.
The way that I have it set up is on my chest. So my chest is kind of the main focus, and then the kind of like a circular, like a circle around my chest, and then my head is on the peripheral of the circle.
Mhm.
It looked a bit strange when I looked at it. Um, yeah, so I thought I would try it a bit more.
I'm just adjusting the microphone setting so that your voice is similar level to mine on OBS. I think -9 for you maybe. Yeah, I don't know why, but this microphone is super. It's really quiet. As in, if you record something on default setting, I'm boosting this 15 decibels, which is a huge amount, just
Mm.
to make it within range of the yellow bar. And yeah, I don't know why, but when you boost the volume, it can hear all this background noise as well. Like you can hear
Mm.
any mochi
Yeah,
barking downstairs, and yeah. So this mic is not the best if you have a noisy environment.
maybe it's because it's far away from you, from your mouth.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of far, but I see Penguin Zero like Moist Critical. He has the same mic as this, and he puts
Mm.
it pretty far. He doesn't even put it this close. He puts it like here or something like that, which I do usually, but I figure the quality is a bit better if I put it closer.
Mm. Does it have a receiver that's like at one location, or is it like all around that black thing you can talk to it and you get the same result?
No, it's directional.
Oh, okay, okay.
This is directional. It has to be pointing this way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's something funny. When I first got this mic, I didn't know that there's like a receiver. There is a receiver that's at the front here where I'm talking towards.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know that when I first got this mic. I thought I could just talk anywhere around this black thing.
Really?
Right? So sometimes I have the receiver facing the other way, and I'm talking towards the back, and the audio just was just so bad.
Oh,
Because
okay.
all it records is the voice that I speak that speaks out against the wall that reflects back that
Oh, I
gets
see.
recorded, and it just sounds so echoey and strange. And I could not figure out what was wrong with my audio, and I thought it was something wrong with the way I edited my audio, but it just sounded so strange.
Mm.
If you listen to some of my earlier videos, it just sounded so bad, and I went to my friend's house, which is the house I live in now. He has a mic as well, so I brought my mic, came to his house, and we like experimented with it for like an hour, where I record something on his mic onto my computer, and I recorded something on my mic onto my computer. We couldn't isolate what was
Mm.
wrong because sometimes my mic would sound okay, sometimes it doesn't. It
Mm.
just so happens where I position my mic and where that receiver happens to fall. Um,
It's a directional
but
mic just like this one.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and then I started reading the menu. It's not called a menu. It's
The
like a
manual?
manual. Yeah, yeah, the documentation that came with the device.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized there is actually a receiver that I'm actually supposed to talk towards the receiver.
Mm.
And that's when I solved that problem. Yeah.
Yeah, mine is good in that it has a blue light where the receiver is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
So
would make sense.
yours doesn't?
Mine is, yeah, no, doesn't have a light. It just
Mm.
tells me that it's like it has a knob here and the receiver is right above the knob.
Mm.
That's how I would know. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. How are your videos performing, and are you happy with it?
The performance itself seems okay, like in terms of the number of views and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that looked normal to me. I get around my sub count whenever I upload. Um, Sometimes above my sub count if a video goes viral, or viral for my size, my
Mm-hmm.
channel size. That was okay. But recently I've been focused more on just the speed at which I produce video rather than the actual video that comes out. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think I had a bad intuition with regard to these videos where I have so much invested on a video and I really want that one video to do well,
Mm-hmm.
which is really the bad intuition after I think about it because the algorithm is kind of I think it has a range. Sometimes it promotes a video, sometimes it doesn't, even
Mm-hmm.
though the video is good. So I can't focus on I can't let the algorithm decide whether a video is good. I
Mm-hmm.
should just, whether I make a video and whether I'm happy with it. And that should be the North Star of what I'm aiming for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I find that if I produce a lot of videos, this is actually something I found out recently, where if I work on a video too long, I actually started to dislike that video a little bit
Mm-hmm.
on my end.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels less fresh. I don't know if you ever felt that way, but you're producing video very quickly. You
Mm-hmm.
post like once a day or something, so you probably no longer experience this. But for me, it almost feels like I'm making potion, like I'm using water, right, as the raw
Mm-hmm.
ingredient of my potion.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I go up to a river that has fresh water. I get a bucket of water and I take it home and I work with this water
Mm-hmm.
and turn it into a potion of sort. Um, when the water isn't flowing in the river, when it's the stale water, it turns bad, right? Eventually,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like if you have a cup of water that sits on a table for a month, after a month, it's probably no longer safe to drink.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about the exact time frame, but I feel somewhat icky drinking a cup of water that's been sitting on the desk for a month. So the longer you wait, um, the worse quality the water becomes stale after a while. So if I feel like for me the video is the same way. Like it obviously I can't just you know make underproduce a video, right? I still need to do my best on the video, but the
Mm-hmm.
longer I work on the video, the more stale it turns,
Mm-hmm.
almost. Like there was a video where I took like 2 weeks to make it, and by the end of it, like every word in my script just feels so boring to me because I've read it like a
So
thousand
many
times already.
times. Yeah. Yeah.
It just turns stale, and when I record, I'm less excited to utter those sentences.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I make a video and I'm not procrastinating with it, I'm just, on point with my work. I finish it in the amount of time it's supposed to take. Every sentence feels so fresh, and as I utter it to the camera, I feel so excited. I'm like, oh wow, the world get to hear this thing that I wrote. It's so exciting to share it with the world. I think that freshness decreases the longer I work on a video.
For
So
sure.
it's almost time, like a timer that starts.
Mm-hmm.
When I get an idea that I
Mm-hmm.
start working on it, the timer starts. The longer it takes, the staler it becomes. Um, Sometimes I'm doing necessary work when I edit my script and when I write. I can't just push a MP4 file that I'm not happy with to the world. I need to work on it until I'm happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times when it's not like I'm working on it in a necessary way. I'm just procrastinating, right? So I'm just like, it's so stressful to try to get it done. Let me just take another day.
Mm-hmm.
Take another day and just watch Netflix 80% of the time and work 20% of the time. Just let me just do that for like 5 more days.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those procrastination really turns a fresh idea stale for me,
Mm-hmm.
what I figured out. So I think for the next iterations of my batch of videos, I want to just focus on how quickly I can focus and turn an idea into a video. I think that freshness is something I want to capture.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how whether you probably don't experience this, Paul. You get videos out so quickly.
I've
Um,
experimented with longer videos that, I filmed over 7 day challenges, and I would procrastinate after I filmed all my footage because like I just didn't want to work on it.
mm,
Um, I found it to be a big problem, and that's why I went to frequent uploads again after experimenting with the high effort, longer take videos. As you said, I just didn't want to work on it anymore, and it was a chore, and it was sluggish to try and finish the video. And actually, what's his name? Peter McKinnon, the big YouTuber, talks about this. He said he would have ideas, uh, but if he didn't execute on them quickly, he lost excitement for those ideas. And even though he didn't even execute it, he got excited when he had the idea, but then it was like, now I don't really want to make it. And so he would go stretches at a time where he didn't make anything. Um, and one of the tips he realized, which he's trying to implement himself now, is when you have an idea, try to execute on it as soon as possible, and
mm,
just get it done quickly, because that's when the excitement is fresh and you feel like you really want to work on it. It
mm,
doesn't last. That feeling doesn't
mm,
last. Yeah. So it's
yeah,
common, not just for you, not just for me, but pretty much everyone. It seems like it's a universal thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's very well put. That exactly what I experienced. That after a while, uh, I'm no longer excited about the idea,
Mm.
and I think it's reflected in the way it's reflected in subtle ways in the videos too. I'm sure, because if I'm working on an idea and I'm excited about it, the results that come from that work session is gonna be different from if I'm working on a video, but it's already been 2 weeks since I started with it, and all I did in those 2 weeks was watching Netflix while looking at an empty Word document. And now, after 2 weeks, I really hate myself for what I did in those 2 weeks, and I just want to finish the idea. And at that point, whatever comes out of me in those work sessions probably not as good as had I just really focused on the idea at the beginning. Um, yeah,
So
good point.
what is your time frame? I mean, you were doing like one video a week, kind of, roughly, not exactly, but what is your new time frame?
Yeah, I hope I can get to a video a week, and even there, I can probably get a video done in 4 days
Mm.
if I think about it, if I really focus. Um, but there are
That's
like
a
long
lot of
stretches of
writing.
time. Yeah, yeah, a
That's
lot
a
of
lot of
writing.
writing
So
in 4 days. I mean, usually writing it takes hours and hours, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah, it takes at least 2 days, sometimes 3 days to write.
Mm.
Um, and it takes a day or two to film, edit, and produce the thumbnail. The most predictable part of my workflow is editing.
Mm.
There's nothing novel that comes out of that. Rarely, sometimes something creative comes out of it that I didn't expect. But most of the time, like my videos aren't like editing based videos, not like a Mr. Beast video where I need to produce a effect of the earth explode or anything like that. It's just, me talking to a camera, making sure I'm visible in front of the
Mm.
camera, and following the laws of English grammar.
Mm-hmm.
And most of that work was done during the writing anyway. Um, but writing is really where the unpredictable part happens. It's where the creativity happens. Like when I write, it's as if it's a bit scary. It's as if I don't know if I told you this analogy before. It's as if I'm taking off on an airplane and I'm the pilot, but I don't know how to land the plane.
Mm.
And so I start I start working on an idea. So that's the plane, and I know I'm gonna fly this plane. I have no idea how that idea is gonna end most of the time. I don't know where this idea will lead me. Um, like for example, I did a video on Korean youth struggling. It's what's called the Ampo generation in Korea. It's basically like the lying flat in China, but the Korean version of it. So all I had at the beginning when I started with that idea was that I saw a news report of a lot of young Koreans struggling in Korea. And I thought, okay, that's an interesting social issue I can learn more about and make a video about. I had no idea where that was gonna lead me. Like I was thinking, oh, am I just gonna make a very complaining video about how bad the world is and how hard young people have to work and work so hard with no future prospect? Am I just gonna complain for this entire video, or is there anything more hopeful or meaningful I can get out of this topic? I had no idea. All I knew was that young Koreans are struggling. That was it. That was my starting point. I didn't know where that was gonna lead. And as I did my research and as I started writing, I realized, oh, hold on, these young motherfuckers, they're not giving up on life. They're like rebelling against societal norm. Okay, I didn't see that coming. Whoa, this was turned out way differently than I had expected.
Mm.
Um, but I had no idea that was going to happen when I started with the idea.
Mm.
I just knew that, this is where I started. I had no idea how to land this plane. I don't know if I'm gonna land it well. I don't know if it's gonna land. Maybe it never lands, and I just need to give up on the idea. I have no idea. So this is kind of a leap of faith in a way. And, here we go. We're gonna start flying. I might just plummet towards the ground and crash. Who knows? Right? So that's the most unpredictable part of the process for me. Just starting with the idea and researching and writing. But once I've filmed and it's time to edit, from that point on, it's pretty predictable. The story's already recorded. I just need to, adjust the lighting and so on. So
Mm.
uh, usually that takes a day at most, to complete, and I can
Mm.
predict that. Um, but with the writing, sometimes it's unpredictable. Like the idea might take me some places that require more time to flash out, for instance.
Mm.
But usually it takes like 2 or 3 days of focused effort on average
Of writing or the total
of writing.
of writing?
And
Yeah.
after that, it takes a day to edit and another day to make the thumbnail.
How many hours a day are you writing when you're doing those writing sessions a day for like 2 to 3 days?
Maybe like 5 hours at most of focused effort with some
Wow.
breaks in between. 5 hours if I'm really pushing it. Um, After 5 hours of focused writing, I can't do anything anymore. I could barely speak if I'm really doing it properly. So
Mm-hmm.
I would let myself relax after that.
Mm.
Um, but if a video takes me like 2 weeks to make, I wasn't having 5 hours of focused sessions every day. I was like having 30 minutes of focus session a day, and I'm just watching Netflix the rest of the time, and hating
Mm.
myself while watching Netflix. Right? It was not focused at all. Um, I think that's really the part I need to focus on in the future. Just making sure I'm actually making contact with the materials meaningfully, and
Mm-hmm.
not just watching Netflix and YouTube, binging YouTube that entire time.
Are you are you paying for Netflix?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
It,
I bought. I think there was a show. There was a show called Castlevania that I really liked.
mm.
It was a second season uh, of an offshoot called Nocturne that came out on Netflix, and I wanted to watch that part.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought 1 month of Netflix, the lowest tier with ads, just to watch that. But after I finished that season, like in a day,
Mm-hmm.
I still have a whole month of Netflix use ahead of me. So it was not good for my productivity to have it, but I do have it. So I've been watching some random stuff on it.
Did you cancel the renewal?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I just bought a month for that one show.
Oh.
I do that sometimes with subscription. Like I bought Netflix for a month back when I needed to watch. Uh, was it Jake Paul fighting?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's his name?
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson. Did you watch that fight? I
No, I
think we
didn't.
talked about that fight.
Yeah,
So
didn't watch it. Um, how, what was it? What about piracy? Have you, I mean, do you watch, first of all, do you watch on TV or do you watch on your computer?
my computer or iPad. or on my phone, depending on where I am.
Okay.
If I'm at my desk, I'll watch it on my computer. But
If you're watching it on your computer anyways, you don't consider piracy? I mean,
well, it sometimes the shows are not on like on the torrent site.
oh,
Yeah,
do you know the Reddit piracy page?
oh, I don't.
Oh, you
Is
should.
it?
Yeah, it's apparently it's like got all the solutions to it's
Oh,
search
wow.
what is it called? Reddit piracy well, mega
We're
thread or
we're
something.
live. We're live in front of the world, by the way, Paul. You might get arrested later.
um, yeah.
Let me search it up. So how's the seeds? Like, are there? Is it like downloadable,
I
or are there
I
no
think you
seeders
can
anymore?
stream or direct download things.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I think you can stream most things. Yeah.
okay,
Um,
okay.
it
I
might be
prefer
like
streaming. Yeah,
yeah. I think it was Reddit piracy mega thread or something like that. I can't remember.
interesting.
I saved the page. Hold on, let me.
You're gonna put it in chat for the world to take.
Yeah, it's called Reddit Piracy Mega Thread. Reddit.com r piracy wiki mega thread. You should definitely not go there. You should definitely pay for everything and
Yeah, it just we're not recommending this. We're talking about this because we're
because we
gonna tell
want
everyone what not to do,
what
where not
not
to
to
go.
do. Yeah, definitely don't go to Reddit mega thread piracy mega thread, and definitely don't start pirating and
Yeah,
streaming for
don't
free.
don't go to that Reddit thread specifically. That's the
Yeah.
specific one to not go to.
There was actually a video that went viral doing that. Uh, what was it? Um, oh, first of all, there was Devin said, I agree with Lewis on that being happy with each video you make. Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
You can't focus on the YouTube metrics because it's so
Mm.
random. So being happy with
Yeah.
what you make is the only metric that you have control over.
Yeah, it's a hit or miss. You can't let algorithm to dictate whether a video is good or not. It's really
Yeah,
depends on how you feel about that video.
yeah.
And one thing I heard recently is if you look back after let's you make 10, 20 videos, you look back at the last 10, 20 videos you made, are you happy or are you proud of that catalog of content you created, or are you like feeling like bored of it, or not happy that you had to make it? That's kind of a litmus test of how whether you're on the right track or not.
Mm,
Um, yeah, so recently I've been thinking just making things I'm proud of, um, but not making them slower than necessary.
mm,
Paul, you're doing this so well that you're probably no longer feeling this anymore. But recently I really have been just like the biggest problem I have is working on something longer than necessary,
mm,
and watching the my excitement about that idea just diminish over time.
mm.
Um, as
How with your latest video, how diminished the excitement was by the end of your video making?
hmm,
The Korean plastic surgery one.
certainly diminished for sure.
Oh yeah?
I don't know how to put a number on it, but um, there were some exciting ideas I wrote down at the beginning when I started working on that idea. Like
Okay.
sometimes I would write out a sentence. I was like, "Oh, that's an amazing way to put this. Like, I can't wait to share this with the world." And it took me 2 weeks to finish the final script, right? And at the end, it's like I have to read this whole thing to the camera now, but it's already been 2 weeks since I wrote it. It was not as exciting anymore to yeah, to read at the camera. Yeah.
Mm. By the way,
Oh, is Timmy's coming?
yeah, Timmy said he's ready. So let's hop
All right.
onto the my server voice chat.
Ah, okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that's the easiest way. Okay, I'll see you there.
See ya.
There we go. Hop onto my server voice. Hey, Omi. Glad to have you join. I don't know if you're still there, but lol, Paul being sneaky. I was gonna mention there was a guy who said how not to download. Hey, Timmy!
Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's Timmy! How's baby life, man?
Baby life's good.
Oh, you might want to limit the. How do I do that? I want to limit. How do I limit the number of people who can join the voice
Just make
chat?
it private, I guess.
Or make it private? How do I?
Make it like a private channel so like other people can't really join.
Okay. But only after Lewis joins, right?
Yeah, only after Lewis joins.
Okay. I'll make. Oh, okay. There's Lewis. Okay, I'll make it private now. Permissions, private channel. Okay. Oh, save changes. Okay. All right, it's private now, so it's just the three of us. Thanks for that, Devin. I appreciate the suggestion. I just wanted to say, on the note of not endorsing piracy and discouraging it, there was a guy who made a video. He's a small channel, and he went absolutely viral with a video saying how not to pirate Adobe. And every it was actually really well made. It was so funny that even though I wasn't even interested, I just watched it to the end because it was so entertaining. And there was like 8 minutes of you definitely don't want to click on this because you know you don't want to be an asshole and you want to support these family businesses who are who are taking your money every month even though you barely use the app like twice a month. So you so he kept going on and on, and he it went like over 200,000 views and it's just viral, and I think it still keeps going up to a certain extent. And his goal was to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and he just started at this year, 2025. But he's beyond 5K or 9K or something like that. He's just almost 10K, and even I subscribed to him because I was curious what he was gonna do. And he said he made a video follow up saying like, I don't want to be that ironic anti-piracy guy. Adobe is not a family-run business. He was being sarcastic. um. Anyways, he said I want to create whatever I want to create. This channel is for an outlet for me to make whatever I want. So he said he's still gonna make like gaming videos and stuff that he wants to make, and if you're not interested in that, then probably best to unsubscribe since if you're expecting more anti-piracy ironic videos.
He doesn't
So
want to get stuck in the niche
yeah,
of
and he
how to
he even
pirate.
he even said he doesn't want to get demonetized by it being exposed, so he might even unlist that viral video because
Uh,
yeah, he doesn't want it to be a trouble for YouTube. And but there were comments saying like my excuse is that YouTube recommended me this video. Anyway, so like yeah, the comment section was hilarious. Yeah.
mm.
Um. But yeah, so he's just still making whatever he wants to make, and it's very different from the piracy video that got him viral. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing?
I'm curious, Timmy, how's baby life going for you?
Oh, it's pretty good. Pretty pretty cool.
Hmm.
Can you sleep at all?
Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah, we take shifts.
Uh,
Mm.
Mhm.
so one person sleeps with the baby, the other person sleeps just by themselves.
No, it's like a day and night thing.
Oh.
Since I like
Mm.
to work nighttime anyways, so we
Mm.
sleep at different times.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
So when you're filming and the baby wakes up, you just like stop the camera and go
I
take
mean,
care of
it's not
him?
like a complete 12 and 12 because you only really sleep for 8.
Right.
So there's an overlap time
Right.
where both of us are awake, and I usually film around that time.
Oh,
Uh,
I see. Okay.
Mhm.
Hmm.
until when does the human baby start sleeping normally?
I
Until
have
what age?
no idea.
He's
That's a good question.
gonna do it as long as it takes.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I'm kind of just enjoying the moment.
Hmm.
oh, that's
A
good.
lot of the my friends who are dads, they say that, well, these times like go by so fast and you'll miss it. So like, yeah, I already think I'm gonna miss it. So
Hmm.
I'm just enjoying it.
Nice.
The like Matt Diavella was talking about how he got depression and like his wife was diagnosed PTSD because they couldn't sleep for like 8 months. They were getting about 3 hours of sleep for 8 months.
That would be the norm, yeah, because baby will wake you up every 3 hours for feeding and diaper.
Mm.
So if you have regular jobs or, you can't have an 8 hour sleep. You
Mm.
would get woken up every 3 hours, kind of.
Mm.
And
Holy
if you have
shit.
work and you have to go to work in the morning and stuff like that, it's it's pretty brutal.
Mm.
So
Damn.
yeah, them being able to just sleep for that amount of time makes so much sense.
Mm. Shit. Wow.
How has
Is
that?
that yeah. Go ahead,
Sorry, go
Lewis.
ahead, Paul.
No,
Sorry.
no, you go ahead.
So just how has that changed things for you, Timmy? Because
Mm-hmm.
Paul was talking about someone like the Adobe guy who wants to make videos uh, about whatever he wants to make it. That's if that's the only source of income he has, and he has a kid, that drastically limits his option in a way. So for you, I think last time we spoke, you said you were looking for ways to have a more stable income. Is that still your plan, or has that limited your options with regard to YouTube in any ways?
Nah, I feel like I work a lot harder with him here. Like
Mm,
before my son was born, I think I was already working pretty hard. But now when he's here, I have on top of having to take care of him, I end up working more, like
mm,
on making more videos and stuff. I think I just feel more motivated.
Oh.
Like it's like well, you kind of don't want to be poor because then your baby's poor. So you kind of, you know, have that external motivation to work even harder.
mm,
Mm.
And it kind of made me realize like, man, humans can do so much, but we're limited by, you know, kind of ourself in a way. Like we all procrastinate. I mean, I do a lot. We all get burnouts. We all get like lazy, like all these things. But what I find it with like an external motivation, like having my son, it takes all those excuses and throw them out the window, you know? Like
Mm.
because it's not about me anymore. Like I feel like I'm not working for myself anymore.
mm,
Mm.
And I just, made me realize that, well, man, I can do so much. I can get so much done in such little time if I really, really, you know, want to.
mm.
Mhm.
Are you the only one making an income in your family, Timmy, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, yeah. Right now, yeah. And I don't mind that. I mean, I think I'm raised pretty traditionally Asian man, so I'm like, well, I don't mind that role at all.
Mm,
I encourage that role. To
mm-hmm,
be honest, I don't care if I'm the only one who makes money.
mm. And you're still doing all the night shifts still? So I guess now you have a good reason to not sleep during the day now. You're taking the night shift for the baby.
I mean, I've always liked the night shift because I've always worked late into the night anyways. As
There is
Paul
something.
may know, like, you know, Paul's known me for like a year now. It's
Mm,
like Timmy and sleep. It's you know, it's a random event.
yeah, there is something magical about like nights when everyone else is sleeping. I always liked that. When at 2 or 3 in the morning, I'm awake, the whole world is asleep. There's something magical about that moment for me. It's like if I'm working at that time or if I'm just watching Netflix at 2 or 3 in the morning is a different experience personally than watching it 2 or 3 in the afternoon. There's something interesting about that time of day. Probably not healthy, but it is interesting to be awake around that time. Um, I don't know,
For
something more
me,
private, something
yeah,
more, yeah, secretive
I
almost.
I actually I absolutely get what you mean, and I feel like the same way. It's just there's just a certain level of peace that comes with this time, and that you can kind of go at your own pace in a way. There's no other distractions, and there's no
Mm.
other obligations. That's more important. There's no other obligations like errands or job or stuff you have to go do. There's no one else you need to talk to. It's just you can really take things at your own pace at this time of day.
Mm.
I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I think that's why people like Alex Hormozy say you have to carve out time, or Danko says this too. You have to carve out time either late night or early morning when the whole world is asleep, because that's the only focus time that's the most valuable in a whole 24-hour period.
Mm.
And of course they recommend early morning because like late night is probably you're wrecking the next day's a whole schedule and sleep and energy level and all that.
I mean, it's very different for each person because
Mm.
everyone has kind of different obligations they need to do. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, people who need to work like 9 to 5, they can't, it's hard for them to have like a night shift schedule like mine. It'd probably be impossible.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, no, I agree with that. You have to segment your time out. But it does really depends on your situation, on what time you can block out for whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm.
Some people are better in the evenings as well, night owls, early
Yeah,
birds. We
yeah,
all have different things.
yeah.
I'm
That.
definitely like worse in the morning.
You're a night
When I
owl
wake
for
up, it's
sure.
like, don't touch me, don't talk to me.
What time do you wake up now, Timmy?
Uh, 4 p.m., 5 p.m.
What
I'll
time do you
sleep
go
at
to
around
sleep?
like 8 a.m.
8 a.m. Do
Like
you have
8 a.m., 9 a.m. is when
do,
I fall asleep nowadays.
do you have blackout curtains so that's dark?
Hmm?
Do you have blackout curtains so that it's dark, or is the sunlight like
No,
making it?
I'm just good at passing out.
Wow, even when it's pretty bright, you just pass out, eh?
Yeah, yeah, pretty
Oh.
much.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah,
like it's not super bright. Like I don't have all my windows open, but
Right,
I
right, right.
don't
Yeah.
have any kind of a special setup for sleep.
Yeah.
you might be waking up or going to bed around the same time I do. Like just time-wise, like 5 p.m.
Mhm.
is like 9 a.m. my time. So
I'm on the newest
yeah,
schedule.
yeah, you're living the Pacific time zones.
Yeah, I live in the U.S. time zone.
Oh, that's crazy. Timmy, so do you are the number of videos that you make for your work is that set so that you don't make more than those videos, or do you get paid extra if you make extra videos?
I set,
It's set. Okay.
but like it's a loose set because so I have like my own videos that I need to film and post for that channel.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I also have to edit my friend's video because
Mm-hmm.
we're co-hosting the channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and my friend will sometime release more or less, but my job is to kind of just edit all of them. If he posts more, he posts more. He posts less, he posts less. But he never gives me like an overwhelming amount of work. So
Mm-hmm.
he's pretty mindful of like my schedule. So it
Mm-hmm.
all works
Okay.
out.
Okay. So, in order to get extra income, it would be posting on your own channel. That would be the extra income, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do have a lot of extra income now coming from having earphones out. That's mine.
Mm.
So those are still selling
Oh,
like
they're still selling.
a little bit. Yeah, a little bit each month, whatever it is.
Wow. Nice.
Mm.
That's really cool. And are they selling from your friend's website, or are they selling like just
Uh,
Amazon and globally?
Friend's website too, Amazon too, and other
Mm.
stores, other websites. There's a lot of vendors for that.
Wow. Damn. Hopefully, it doesn't taper down and it keeps going strong.
It it 100% will taper down, but it's that's that's the beauty of it, and just make a new product.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, all I'm always looking to make more products. I know it taper downs eventually.
Mm.
Like the only thing that doesn't taper down is we have a product so damn good, or you market it so incredibly well that keeps going forever. Oh, not
What
forever, but it keeps going longer.
what's an example product of the one that keeps going?
Example product of one that keeps going. Can you think? In my section would be AirPods Pro 2.
Oh.
Apple's AirPod Pro. That's not going away anytime soon.
Oh. And your friend sells that at his store too?
No, no, no. That
Oh,
one's
okay.
not on the store
Oh,
anymore.
okay.
But that would be an example of a product in my sector is that has lasted and still is lasting. Mm.
Mm. Do you have any IEMs that last like that?
Oh, there are some, not my own, but
Right,
like
yeah.
there are some for sure from other brands that are lasting like 3, 4 years straight now.
Like the Dunu Titan S?
Titan S is one of those. Titan S
Mm.
was released 2021 or early 2022 and is still going.
Mm. Okay.
Even with the version 2 came out, and the version 2 people didn't like it as much as the first one.
Oh, really?
So the first one's still going.
Wow. Okay.
Version 2 might actually be discontinued before version 1.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Damn.
because it just
Okay.
doesn't make as much sales.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm using mine well. Thanks for the recommendation, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So earphones, another huge income source, and then your own personal channel videos.
And
Um.
some editing jobs here and there,
Oh,
like
okay.
odd edit jobs. I still do freelance edit for clients I want to do,
Hmm.
or for some friends who have been doing their edits for so long, I just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And consulting, I have one like big consulting client for YouTube at the moment.
Oh, paying you monthly?
Hmm?
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
steady income source right there.
Yes, I try to have multiple streams because you don't ever know which stream is gonna run dry when, you
Hmm.
know?
Lewis, have you considered multiple streams?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. But so far, one at a time.
Hmm.
Let's make one profitable stream and then move on to another. I do have some other stream that's kind of just if it doesn't take me a lot of time to create, I might as well just leave it there and see if it grows organically, like Patreons and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I kind of figure I need to first at least figure out a process for YouTube video creation that I'm happy with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just looking at a video and watch, Netflix while I'm making it and takes like let me just figure out my own discipline, how to manage myself and have a cadence for video first. And once that's stable, maybe you start looking at some other streams.
Mm.
Um,
So what are something that's kind of holding you back and making you not enjoy the process of creation?
it's just a lack of discipline, I would say. So, if you watch the way I work on an idea, like turning an idea, a video idea into an actual MP4 file to release it onto YouTube.
Mm,
If I'm doing it well, then I'm working maybe 4 hours a day, or I'm focused on the idea. I'm writing the script, filming, editing, creating the thumbnails, and while I'm working, I'm actually doing those productive activities. And when that happens, I'm like really enjoying the whole process. But what tends to happen is a video that's supposed to take maybe 4 or 5 days end up taking like 12 days or 14 days. And
mm.
if you watch me work, I'm just, I have the video script, the Word document in front of me, but then on the other screen is Netflix, and I write 2 sentences and then just, I actually never go to Netflix to watch Netflix. I always find myself watching Netflix. I wonder when and how I started watching Netflix. or just replace Netflix with some other um, unproductive activities. So I always find myself doing that, and figure out a way to just have less of that and more focused work. I think it's really gonna it's the leverage I should push right now to get to the next level. I think. Yeah.
Mm. And that's a
And
hard problem to solve. It's almost like a super personal problem. It's not
it's
it's not
not
like
a not a YouTube.
strategy, it's more so
Yeah.
like your own emotion kind of blocking you from doing more of what you want, more of what you know you want to do or that you
Mm.
know you should do. Um, yeah, so that's a tough one, man. I hope you find a good solution to that one.
Maybe I need to have a kid, Timmy, and then I can have a reason
I
to
don't
push
know.
myself.
I mean, it's working for me. I mean,
Yeah. I heard,
yeah,
speaking of kids, I heard that once you have a kid, something happens uh, where you're no longer the most important person, uh, like from your perspective. Like before you have a kid, you're considering you as the most important person, and you're sort of selfish in a way. But once you have a kid, that kid becomes the most important person, and you're no longer that. And that's supposed to be a kind of a paradigm shift or a special moment of growth for a man.
yeah.
Have you
That's what I
found
was
that?
talking about earlier, to where like I feel like I'm not working for myself anymore.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like I'm not working, for my own purposes anymore. But it's
mm,
more so I'm working to like, well, this someone small needs to eat, so I need to work, kind of
mm,
feeling. So it's more like that nowadays.
mm,
Where I look at it and I was like, man, I can live like with this kind of money. What if he wants to go to this kind of school? What if he wants to do this activity? What if he wants to do this? Can I afford it? It's like, well, I would like to be able to afford it, you know. So there's more like different motivations for me now
mm,
to do work. Mm.
It's different
That's
from
beyond
working.
myself.
Yeah, it's different from working to support your wife as well. It's different from that.
It's different because me and her, we don't need to go to school anymore.
Mm,
We don't need to prepare for, whatever. Because we pass all that, we can live on like lower amount of money and
mm,
just enjoy. If it's just two of us, it doesn't cost that much, you know what I mean?
mm,
But when it comes to a kid, you have to think like, okay, what kind of school? What's the cost of that school? All cost of all the everything else,
mm,
And yeah, it's a very different thing because to support my wife, like my current income's absolutely enough. We can vacation, we can whatever. It's like
mm,
it's not lavish, but it's not like we need to be super rich, right? But with the kid on top, it's like, well, I would like to give him opportunities I didn't have, so
mm.
that's different.
Um, what was I gonna say?
No, it's hard to explain, but I think that's pretty much the gist of it.
Mm.
Does the paradigm shift happen when the kid comes out? That's the moment when you have that paradigm shift, or does it
It's
happen
when
when
I
you make
first
the
saw his
decision?
face
Oh, okay. So it's
because
that
like it's
instant.
it's so it was instant because until I
Damn.
saw his face, like when my wife was still pregnant, it was kind of like up in the air, almost like I know he's on his way, but like it's still like an unreal, like surreal in my dream kind of feeling until like he's
Mm,
actually here. When you
Mm,
look at him, it's like, huh, all right. And then it clicked like right away.
mm.
mm. You want to have kids, Paul?
I've
That
already,
sounds
No.
kind of
No, why not?
I've
You can look.
already, I've already like mentioned this to my girlfriend even before we started dating. That was like a question I asked her to see if we could start dating. Cause
Mm,
like, cause there was a girl that I met and we liked each other. We met online, but we liked each other, but she wanted kids and I didn't. And
mm,
so that's the reason we didn't even start
mm,
dating. And so I asked my girlfriend and she was like, oh, if I had kids, yeah, I could want kids, but it's not a deal breaker for me. If I don't have kids, I'm fine with that too.
mm.
And so that's why. That's why we started dating. But yeah, with kids with me, um, I think I think I haven't really like asked myself deep questions about why I don't want kids, because I do have the fantasy of the automatic fantasy of when I learn something, or I just I automatically fantasize, and this still happens sometimes to this day, but especially when I was in like my teenage years and 20s, and I would imagine teaching to my, I guess mostly son and sometimes daughter, but mostly son. I guess I would imagine just teaching this lesson that I learned of, uh, and just passing it down. Um, but when I think about actually having children, it's just I don't like babies. The crying, the I don't like kids are fun when they're well behaved and not bouncing off the walls.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I just like I've also taught kids tutoring, like math tutoring, and
Mm.
it's just I've taught one on one, and also one time a classroom full of kids, and I was like, holy shit, they're like they're a different breed of people,
Mm.
and I don't think I want that in my life. It's just very different from normal interactions with friends, or with someone who's maybe if they were like teens or 20s, they're already kind of past the kid stage, right? Maybe I wouldn't mind that as much, but kids and babies, like, and also babies and kids crying and screaming is some of the sounds that I hate the most in this world.
Mm.
um, but yeah, I guess those are the, at least from what I can tell, the superficial reasons why I don't want kids. Yeah. What about you, Lewis?
I do want kids. I hate kids as much as you do, but
Oh.
I would endure uh, the suffering of being around a child if it means to give birth, or not me giving birth, but bring life to this world. That if the kid is mine, I wouldn't mind enduring that suffering. Um,
Why is
I
that?
personally perceive it. Yeah.
Dude,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that like I used to work for a school as well. I work with anywhere from kindergarten all the way till all the way till sixth graders, which are like I don't know how old they are, sixth grade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But I know what you mean when there are definitely annoying kids.
yeah. Mm.
But now that I have kind of my own, it feels very different. Like, yes, still a kid, but at the same time, it's like it's different. Like it's not someone else's kid, you
Mm.
know?
Mm.
It's like there's yeah, and is he annoying sometimes? I can't even say so.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there because it just
Mm.
doesn't feel the same as what you might think it feels.
Right, right, right.
Like to
Yeah.
have your own kid is just random weird feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels
Mm.
different from seeing other people's kid crying.
Right.
Mm.
That
It's
makes
more like
Have
you're
sense.
you?
filled with worries, when your kid
Mm.
cries. When other people's kid cries, like, oh my God, please stop, kill me. But when your own kid cries, it's like, huh, I wonder what's wrong. I hope he's
Mm-hmm.
okay. I
Yeah,
hope
yeah.
he's comfortable. It's completely different feeling.
Mm. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Have you always wanted kids, Timmy, or was that a more
Oh yeah,
recent?
throughout my life, I've known that I wanted kids.
Mm.
Mm.
It's been one of the things that is has never changed about me ever
Mm.
since I was super duper young. I was like, I want kids. I want to have a
Mm.
family. It's just something I want to have.
Mm.
And yeah, so I guess it was a really easy choice for me.
Mm.
Mm.
Was that something that you have been planning for a while then, with your wife?
Yeah, like we talked about it like really early on as well,
Mm.
that I do want that.
Mm. Mm.
I
Louis,
don't know, man.
you
Maybe
oh yeah.
maybe you like having kids, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you will, Paul.
With yeah, with my own kids, probably I'd probably not hate it as much as I think, right? Probably, yeah. Or
Most
I might
likely,
like it, yeah.
because I think like I just don't know how you can unless you're just like I don't know.
A
Like
sociopath or
Like a sociopath. Yeah.
yeah, like you would have to be such an asshole to hate your own baby. Like it's unfair. I can't even imagine it. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like
mm,
you have to be such a psychopath to
mm,
not like your own baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because you think about it, it's like it's not just your baby. It's like half you, half the woman you love. So it's like it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's, there's that factor in it as well.
Mm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know.
Or you have more, Timmy?
I think one is enough because I want to give
Oh.
all my attention to just him.
Oh.
Mm.
Interesting.
Because I really am. I feel like I want to just take care of this one the best of my abilities.
Hmm.
Do you speak Japanese fluently?
No, I do not.
You guys are still in Japan, right, at the moment?
Yeah.
So is the kid gonna be taught English then, like at first, so that you can at
I
least talk?
mean, he's gonna be like bilingual.
Mm. Japanese and English. Any Thai there at all? You're gonna talk to him in Thai and.
I'm not so worried about Thai as much because I don't really care if he knows Thai or not. Because it's
Mm.
not the most useful language, let's be fair.
Mm.
English and Japanese are much more useful.
Hmm.
Mm.
So if he gets English, Japanese, I'm happy. If he doesn't, if he gets Thai too, that's kind of bonus. Other than
Mm.
that, it's like, whatever.
I did
He- He'll
hear.
he, he'll need to speak Japanese in order to talk to you at least, right? Otherwise, you guys can't even talk. So
I mean,
that's
he
a
needs to speak English to talk to me. He needs to speak Japanese. Like the way we want to do it is we want him to speak only English to me and only Japanese to my wife. So
oh
that
interesting.
way he's forced to speak both languages.
Hmm.
So he
Um,
can't just speak
if
pure
he
English.
lives if he's gonna go to school in Japan, he's gonna have to speak Japanese at some point then,
Yeah,
right?
I mean that's not something. Yeah, so I'm not super worried about that. But he's gonna be forced to speak English with me no matter what, so that he for sure 100% gets English.
Mm.
Mm.
Hmm. I did hear children who learn bilingual growing up, they're a bit slow when they go to school in one language because they're so used to two languages that yeah, they're a bit slower initially, but it's totally worth learning, even if
I
that's
mean,
the case.
I'm a
It's just
bilingual kid, so I
yeah.
know what it's like to, and that's absolutely true, by the way, of like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, because I was a bit slower in English, that's for sure. My
Mm.
Thai was better,
Mm.
but it was only a struggle for like maybe a year.
Mm.
Then after you get the, you start speaking more English with your friends, and because I moved from Thailand to America, when
Mm-hmm.
you start to speak with your friends more, then it just falls in line on its own.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it depends on how young you are, but I was already 12, so it wasn't like I was super duper young
Mm.
either. So even at that age, I was still able to learn English and be
Mm.
able to speak English.
Mm.
I'm not too worried about two languages. I'm more like third language would be hard, but
Mm.
if he gets it, I'll be happy. Doesn't
Mm.
need to get it though. Not
Mm.
required.
Mm.
Mm.
If he speaks Japanese with your wife, then they're gonna have a secret language between them that you don't fully understand.
I don't care about that as much as maybe my wife cares about it. She said
Mm.
like, well, if he speaks Thai, there's secrets. I'm like, well, he speaks Japanese, there's secrets too. So, but I really don't care personally.
Mm.
I don't think about stuff like that as much.
Mm. Lewis, why do you want children even though you don't like children in general?
It's a good question. Um, I know that I want children, and I know that I am perfectly ready to endure the suffering of children if I don't like it. Somehow I perceive it as a responsibility, personally. to have children. It's like I'm going to the gym and I might not like it, but I'm gonna go because it's a responsibility to go to the gym, so to speak. So I'm not saying that having kids is like going to the gym, but maybe it's a shitty analogy. But it's kind of like that, where I'm willing to endure some discomfort, um, in order to have this experience of having kids. Um, I feel like I'm not living to my fullest unless I've had this experience of being a parent.
Mm.
Like there's I'm gonna be alive for only once, as far as I know, and I'm gonna try to have the full range of human experience.
Mm.
And having kids is this aspect of human experience that is, like Timmy said, there's something that he can't put the words that you're gonna experience when you have kids. When you look at that fucker's face, something happens in you. I want to experience that, right?
Mm.
Um, but it's a bit deeper than that too, because it's not totally selfish. It's like, oh, I want to have this experience personally. I'm selfishly gonna try to grab onto this experience of being a parent. That's why I want to have kids. It's not about me in a way. It's a bit hard to explain. So I feel like there's mm, some kind of duty for me to fulfill, to have kids, and I feel like I need to do it, even though it's not about me. And I'll probably have a lot of profound experiences of being a parent, and that's the bonus part of it. But I just feel like I have this responsibility to do it for some reason. I can't quite put it to words.
Mm.
I want to have a lot of them as well, at least two.
Oh, at least
Yeah,
two.
Uh, when you say a lot, I was thinking like a soccer team.
could be could be 5 or 10, but I know that that's hard for the women, so I'll um I'll settle for two. Just one is painful enough. I can't imagine what it's like to squish a kid out of one's body. That's crazy. It's traumatizing. Um, yeah, but I feel like it's fun to grow up with a sibling. I'm an only child growing up. It's
Mm.
part of the one child policy of China. So I
Mm.
have no siblings. None of my friends growing up
You're a
in
part
China.
of that one child policy. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mm.
Do they
was
still have
born.
that? That's still going
No,
on?
no, not anymore. They try to make people have more kids now in China, and unsuccessfully, as with many East Asian countries.
Wasn't it temporarily two child, and then did they get rid of that too?
Yeah, I think it's 3 child now.
Oh.
They try to make people have 2 child. No one wants to have even one child at that point because I'm not sure. It's a kind of a complicated landscape why people don't want to have kids in developed countries. Um, but yeah, and then they try to relax that even more to a 3 child policy. But still people don't want to have even one child. Um, but yeah, I feel like having 2 child is for the kid. It's an interesting experience growing up with a sibling. I never get to have that, and I didn't know what I was missing until I came to Canada and see people with siblings, and that looks incredibly
Mm.
fun. When I was in China, none of my friends had siblings either because it was just one child
Oh,
policy all the way through. So
right.
I was the only child. All my friends were only child, and um, it was so different with a sibling. There's some interesting dynamics one gets to experience,
Mm.
good or bad, right? Sibling rivalry and just competition for parents' attention or whatnot. I have no idea what people meant by that when they speak to me because all my parents' attention are on me. The two traditional Chinese parents focus on me all the time. It's traumatizing.
Mm.
I want less of it, right? And people are saying, "Oh my
You got
God,
like two tiger parents just on your back all the time growing up. No one
yeah,
to lighten the load.
exactly." And I would see, maybe like in TV shows where there's siblings who are competing for parents' attention. Um, and I have no idea what that's like from a first person perspective. I want less of it, as far as I'm concerned. Um, so I want my kids to have a fuller range of human experience too. So I thought having two would be more interesting. Um, Yeah, so at least two, so that bucket is full, but more the merrier. I will have as many as my partner is willing to squish out of her body, personally.
Oh man. Um, I was gonna ask something I forgot.
Oh.
I forgot. I was gonna ask Lewis something. Do you wish you had a brother or sister, Lewis? It sounds like you did. You wish you had a brother or sister.
Yeah, that would have been so much fun. Um, yeah, I wish I had a brother, and I
Yeah.
wish we were roommates. I
Yeah.
wish I lived with my brother. That
uh,
would be so cool.
uh,
Um, I could like fight with them, right? I could spar with them.
mm-hmm.
Um, always wanted to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I went to a couple of classes, um, but it's it's just specific to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You can learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu just by watching YouTube tutorials. It's just like where do you put your hand and where do you grab the arm and how do you choke somebody. But you need a person to practice. You can't just
Mm,
watch it by yourself and learn it.
mm.
And when I want to learn it, there's no one around for me to practice, right? The only person that I can practice on is my girlfriend. And whenever I try to do a chokehold on my girlfriend, she gets really annoyed. But I
Oh
have no
yeah,
one else.
and man, I can imagine.
Understandably annoyed, right? So if I have a brother who lives with me, well, I can just go to his room and try to choke him, right? And apparently, I don't need consent for that with sibling. I can just go to him and start choking him, and he's gonna have to try to escape from it, and he's gonna do it to me, and that's gonna be all the motivation one needs to get better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I don't get choked by my brother, right? That in and of itself, when I imagine it, would be worth it to have a brother. Um,
What about your roommate?
oh, my roommate has a day job, so he's not here all the time. Also, he
Oh.
doesn't do jujitsu.
Just
Mm.
like
Uh,
wait for him to get home. Just like chokehold him right
Cho-
when he walks into the door. Just like, oh, I got bitch.
just choke him right away. Yeah.
And then the next
He
day it's
might-
like, I'm moving out, Lewis. Why? Why are you moving out?
Probably after 2 months, I'm gonna have to shoulder the whole rent of this one-bedroom apartment in Vancouver. Yeah.
Oh man. Lewis, have your conversations with your parents changed at all since you announced to them that you quit your corporate job?
Yeah, it's changed
Oh
for sure.
my God. Oh God. I just Asian parents and you telling them you quit your job. How are you still alive, Lewis?
Yeah, I'm totally surprised why I'm still alive. I'm like, it's one of the most surprising things that's happened. I actually made a video about it. I think
I mean, it's a deserving video for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I think it's called why Asian parents are destroying their kids' future or something
No,
along those lines.
you know what a better title would have been? Now that I think about it, I told my Asian parents I quit my corporate job or
Mm,
something like that. That's a way better title because like I would click on that more than the generic one.
yeah,
Might want to
yeah.
change it now too. It would still help.
The video, the like 80-90% of the video is about filial piety. So
Oh, right, right.
it's like almost like a technical analysis on filial piety and whether it's good or bad.
But you mentioned your
Uh,
personal experience,
I do.
so
I do,
yeah.
yeah. I used it as a hook at the beginning. I said that I was preparing for this conversation with my parents because I quit my job. That's the hook, and then I go on to talk about filial piety as a whole. Um, but yeah, my parents are actually supportive, Timmy. It's very surprising. I
Mm.
I get on a call with them expecting them to like shout at me and fly to Canada and try to kill me or something. And my mom just asked me a bunch of logistical question, about how I'm living, how I'm able to pay rent without a job, what my plans are, and I all I did was lay my plans to her. This is how much I've saved up. This is my budget. This is my plan B and plan C if YouTube doesn't work out. This is how long of a time frame I have for YouTube, kind of thing. And she just listened and asked some follow-up questions about the logistics. And when she understood everything, and she was like, "Oh yeah, just do your thing then. Sounds like you know what you're doing. I don't know that much about YouTube, so just let me know if you need money or something along those lines." Which is a lot more underwhelming than I had expected, right? I was expecting them to you know scream at me and stuff, but none of that happened. Um, the next day, my dad texted me about some advice on content creation. He said that I should use music in my videos and I should download Chinese TikTok so I can learn about content creation on Chinese TikTok. Um, like that was the thing he cared about the most at that moment, that I use music in my video instead of the fact that I just quit a prestigious corporate job that I love so much and brag to all of
Mm.
our relatives about. So that was surprising. Um,
You have like a more supportive one. You
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of got lucky there.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, exactly. Um, I think what happened was I never really talked to them seriously at all until this moment.
Hmm.
Mm.
Um, and it's also a discrepancy in communication skills. I think I can talk very well in English. I can't talk as well. At least I can't communicate as well in Chinese. So I left China when I was 14, and from that moment on, everything occurred in English. Um, so insofar as my communication skills developed as an adult, that occurred in English. My Chinese skills stay stagnant as a 14-year-old. And whenever I talk to my parents, I try to just use this limited communication in Chinese to communicate to them. So when I talk to them in Chinese with that conversation where I told them I quit my job, I actually had a translator on my screen, and I would type what I want to say to them in English, and I'll read the Chinese to them. So I'm actually using some of my English communication skills in Chinese, and that was very effective. Like sometimes I would say, Mom, I want to say something to you. I don't know how to say it to you in Chinese. So give me a second here. Let me translate it in real time. And we'll sit there in 2 minutes in silence as I try to figure out how to, formulate this sentence in Chinese. And I'll say that to her. I feel
Yeah.
like just a conversation that's like very objective and calm, unemotional, and just very well communicated ideas. Um, just that formula of a communication with my parents was the first time that I had tried to do that with them, and I should have tried to do that with them sooner. Because before that, the way I talked to them was as a just emotional, bratty teenager. Just just a very emotional conversation that is not very complicated or deep. Um,
Mm.
and the impression I had of them was that they'll be unsupportive and never really understood me, and just try to control my life in a way that the typical tiger Chinese parents would. But it turned out is that I just never really tried to communicate my ideas to them in a way that's you know objective and deep. And the
Mm.
first
I
time I tried
think
to do
maybe
that,
because
yeah,
too is that you found success in a way with your jobs, and it's different because they now trust you in a way, you
mm,
know. Whether it's maybe if you were to talk to them like this before, maybe they're not as supportive, but
mm,
you have found success at like a pretty good level in your corporate job, and they kind of have confidence that if Lewis puts his head onto something, he'll be able to make it a success like he did before. So there's track record of success, there's track record of confidence for them. So maybe
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why they're a lot more supportive now, or they seem a lot more supportive now.
I
Mm.
think that's definitely part of it. So one of the commenter on my video said that if I just told them before I got my corporate job, like if I were to told them when I was in university, and I said, you know, Mom, Dad, I'm gonna quit school. You paid half of my tuition already, but I'm just gonna quit now, and I'm gonna make YouTube videos at this point. Um, I would imagine them being a lot less supportive than now. Uh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, hundred
yeah,
thousand percent.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
My
I think
parents
that.
weren't supportive of me doing YouTube.
Oh no,
Mm.
not at all.
No, not until I started making money,
Mm,
and
Mm.
then they're like, "Oh, look at my son," at like dinners with relatives and like friends, like, "Oh man, you know my son's a YouTuber, isn't that?" But like before that, it's like my dad especially was very brutal about it.
Oh
Mm,
shit!
Yeah,
Like,
because my first channel was fragrances, right?
mm,
And it's like he didn't see any future in that at all. It's like,
mm,
how are you gonna make money, stuff like that. I didn't understand at the time that it was just that they didn't understand how it
mm,
could possibly make money. And
mm,
at the time, I didn't have any track record of success at all.
mm,
Zero. I was a pretty bad kid, as in I always break the rules and stuff. So I see there's a lot like I learned that I shouldn't take any situation or anything that they decide on or how they feel about me in isolation. I kind of have to consider who I was at the time, how they saw me in totality at the time, you know? How did I
mm,
make them feel? And at the time, I think since I had no success record, I was a pretty bad kid, and it's no surprise they weren't supportive.
mm,
mm,
And would I have been supportive if my kid was like, the way I was back then? It's like maybe not as enthused,
mm,
like it makes sense. So I don't blame them. But when I
mm,
started making money is when they're like, yeah, they let me go. Now they don't care what I do at all. I can do
mm.
YouTube, I can jump onto any project. They never question me or anything else. So that's why I was telling Lewis this is because maybe you have a success track record. That's why they feel confident in you jumping onto any project because they know
mm.
you have done something, you have made yourself something before.
Yeah, yeah. The corporate consultant things probably they've gotten their Chinese parents out of their system. They feel like they've done enough.
Oh yeah,
They,
they got their talking points at the dinner with the
yeah,
relatives.
yeah,
Done.
yeah. They're satisfied, so they're now
What
okay with.
what your son do? Consulting.
Yeah, and they actually told everybody that when I told them I got this job as a corporate consultant, and then the next conversation I have with another relative, they start bringing up the fact that I'm a corporate consultant, and I don't remember telling anyone. So my parents just took that news and spread that to the end of the
Oh,
earth
dude.
immediately.
I understand completely because like my parents are half Chinese, so the culture is probably very similar.
Yeah.
As in like we are trophies, dude. That's
Mm,
what we are. We're trophies. We're like the extension of how good they are as parents.
mm,
Like if we're bad, it reflects badly on them to relatives and friends. But if we're
Mm,
good, we're successful, reflects great on them. They're proud
mm,
to
mm.
tell our stories even though like it's embarrassing for my parents to be like, "Oh, look at my son's YouTube channel" at like some random dinner. I'm like, "Can you not?" Like,
mm.
but
Yeah.
they're proud. Like, it's like they're
Yeah.
proud of you for being able to accomplish so much at your job. So,
Mm,
but yeah, no. Talking to Lewis, I like the whole Chinese thing. I relate to it so much.
Mm.
yeah.
Timmy, did you have to tell your dad exactly how much you were making, and did it have to be a certain amount for him to like start approving of your YouTubing?
I wouldn't say it's like a certain amount. It's more so like he sees like my picture as a whole, how my life is right now. It's not like one time payment and he's like happy that you made that much one time. But it's like, am I, am I living like good? Am I like in a lot of debt? Am I, stuff like that. There's a whole lot of just in looking at it from a big picture point of view. If I'm living a good life or not, doing what I do.
Mm.
Can I take care of myself and whatnot?
So the approval point came when you were able to support yourself from the YouTube money.
Pretty much, yeah.
Mm.
When I was able to support myself, when I had more things going on,
Mm.
and opportunities came about from doing YouTube, they start to support more, and now they don't care.
Mm.
It's good. It's good. They don't care. It's like I'm out of their hand in terms of like worries.
Mm.
Mm. What year was it when you decided to go full time on YouTube and had to have that devastating conversation with your parents?
Um, 2018.
I
Mm.
see.
The thing is, like, I never really had that one singular conversation.
Uh,
It's more so like they try to convince me to get a job,
mm,
like a lot of times, and fail. And I
mm,
kept doing, what I kept doing what I wanted to do. It wasn't, some YouTube here and there, but I wasn't taking YouTube seriously all the time
mm,
prior to 2018.
mm,
So, but yeah, they're trying to get me to go to college, like finish college, all the regular route, because I
mm,
saw that I was failing in life.
mm,
And
Mm.
yeah, until I started doing YouTube and YouTube started paying, and then all those conversations kind of stopped.
mm,
They don't ask me to go to college anymore. They don't ask me to go get a job anymore, stuff like that.
mm. Yeah,
2018 is
I
Timmy's
think
year.
the YouTube career kind of the perception of it changed quite a bit. I don't know the exact time frame, but I think at the beginning when YouTube was just started, no one even know if the platform is gonna exist after a decade. So at that point, YouTuber weren't taken seriously. But I think right now, a lot of kids at school, when they are in the West at least, when they're asked what they want to do in the future, they say YouTube creator. They want to be content
Yeah,
creator.
or TikTok
The,
nowadays, I guess.
the
But no,
prestige
no,
of being
yeah,
yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. Is that it's less of a mystery if success is possible on
Mm,
YouTube in 2025, as much as it was a mystery back in 2015 era. A decade ago, it was like, can you really do it? Can anyone really do it?
I think it's still hard. I don't know whether it's harder back then or harder now. I think the
I think
difficulty back
it's
then was the risk they were taking, the initial YouTuber was they were investing their energy onto a project that may not exist. No one even knew if YouTube was going to be around after a decade.
I personally, I think YouTube has never been easier.
Mm,
Is maybe like a controversial point of view. Not controversial, but like opposite point of view of what people have. But thinking back to YouTube back then, you don't have as good of ad revenue as you do now. You don't have like YouTube membership. You don't have all these money making features like you did 10 years ago. 10 years
mm,
ago, it was only ad revenue, and
mm,
that's it. That's the only way to make money on YouTube. And maybe you get sponsors from brands for products and stuff like that. You have to make your membership thing on Patreon and stuff like that, right? So
mm,
it's a lot more disjointed. Nowadays, everything is together. You have YouTube members, you have stores, you can link your own products on your under your videos now. Shit. Like there's so many more ways to make money. There's shorts now for more discoverability. And like the only reason people feel is harder is maybe because they see more competition, like
mm,
quote unquote, air quote competition.
mm,
Like I don't see it that way though. It's like I see it as like there's so many people who have done what you want to do. So for me, it's like so many proof of concept
Mm.
is out there. Like back then, 10 years ago, like when I started the fragrance channel, did I know it could be like a massive success? Probably not, like because the biggest fragrance YouTuber at the time was 60,000 subscribers,
Mm.
mm,
so like there's no proof of like, oh, a million subscribers, stuff like that.
Mm.
And if you're in
yeah.
an even smaller niche, like it's even harder to imagine you can make any money from it. But nowadays, you can literally jump into any niche and find someone who's already big, which
Mm,
Mm.
means that there's already proof of success. You don't have to second guess yourself if it's gonna work. You just have to get good enough, and it's going to work. So
mm,
I feel it's easier than ever. And there's
mm,
blueprints now. Back then, you don't have any success person to look up to and try to learn from. You don't have anything that works already that you can like watch their video and dissect, oh, okay, why does this work? Why is this person so popular? Stuff like that. You kind of have to figure a lot of shit out on your own. And
mm,
that's much harder than today. Today
Mm.
you have so much, a lot of resources. People just feel it's hard because they want to feel it's hard. That's the way I think about it.
mm. Just me and Paul complaining that it's hard for us. We're not working
Exactly.
hard enough.
Exactly. Complainers. No kidding. But it's like, dude, try going back 10 years ago and tell me it's easier. Just, it's not. It's Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And I can say that because I've been doing YouTube for like 9 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I know what it's like way back in that time.
Mm-hmm.
Was it harder to get views back then?
Oh yeah, dude. Like maximum for my fragrance channel, I was maxing out at like in the thousands range. Like there are some videos that hit 5 digits, but very few, and so few ever hit 6 digit views.
Mm.
So rare. But nowadays, fragrance videos get easily 5 digit. There's
Mm.
some like a lot of more get 6 digit, and there's many that get seven. The biggest fragrance creators now have millions of subscribers, and there's a
Mm.
lot of them that has 6 digit number of subscribers. The world has changed so much.
And
There's
also
so
more people
many
are,
more
yeah,
people on
more people
YouTube
on YouTube. Yeah,
than
it's the
ever
second
before.
second most used
So
website after Google. Yeah.
so like the baseline for like being a shitty, let's say like you are the worst, one of the worst in your niche. Like back then, you might be able to get only like 100 subscribers or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
now, even if you're not that good in the niche that you're in, you're still like bottoming out at 1,000 plus subscribers, 10,000 plus subscribers in some big niche. Like if you're in the gaming niche, and like even if you suck as a gamer, you suck at making gaming content. If you try hard enough, like you upload enough, you're gonna get 5 digit subscribers, dude. 10,000. It's gonna
Mm.
come because that's just how big the niche is. And 10,000 is tiny in that niche, but you're gonna get it and you're gonna start making money. So, but
Mm.
10 years ago, that's not true.
Mm. More people on YouTube, more opportunities.
It's like if you're willing to get good, it's never been easier. It's just people are not willing to get good.
It was actually incredibly validating when I watched, like I searched up some video essays of people talking about very, very esoteric uh, topics related to Asia that got millions of views.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I was always afraid that, I always liked complicated ideas, but I was always afraid to go there on YouTube because I didn't think people would sit there and watch it. It's like who would want to sit and watch a 20-minute video on this esoteric idea that no one has heard of, where all I'm gonna talk about is statistics and some philosophy and some social analysis. That's so boring. And then,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I search up a channel with like a million subscribers, talk with some very shitty thumbnail and title. I think we looked at some of those last time, Paul, and
Yeah.
we between the two of us, we couldn't figure out why the million people clicked on those videos. But those channels exist, which was validating for me to know that millions of people in the world are interested in these complicated ideas, and all I needed to do, like Timmy, like you said, is to get good at doing this. And those people who are, naturally interested in those ideas would watch my videos because they're good. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to guess. Right? I don't need to be like, oh, are there really people interested in this kind of stuff? I'm gonna spend 2 years to get good at this, only to find out that nobody is interested in it. Like that kind level of second guessing is gone. So
Mm.
Yep,
that's very reassuring.
absolutely gone. Yeah.
Mm.
You just need to, like, it's exactly like how you said it. It's like that random ideas can work if it's good enough. I mean, not every random idea, but you know that like you have a lot more freedom making, content nowadays. There's so many proof of concept for so many different obscure things. That is insane. You
Mm.
can marry like ideas like Sonic and physics. And if you make it freaking good enough, I think I watched a video like that where he
Mm.
explained like Sonic games in physics, like from a physics lens, and it was so interesting. Like you can do so many things. You just got to be good. And about being good, there's so many more resources that teaches you editing, that teaches you lighting, that teaches you scripting, that teaches you how to talk on camera, how to be a personality. Those resources 10 years ago weren't nearly as good, or as abundant as today's resources. I am talking just the free ones, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So it's like, it's hard if you want it to be hard. That's all it is, really. It's easy if you want it to be easy.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about there is proof of concept of creators who have done, like, oh my gosh, just seeing like people blow up talking in their cars, and I was like, holy shit, these people are just like, this is proof of concept right there. Um, like it's crazy, and also compared to the Mr. Beast era, even that was like, what year was that? The Mr. Beastification era. That was like 2017, 18, something like that. And um, since then, probably back then, people were like, "Oh my gosh, like how can I compete? You gotta have such high production quality and fancy editing, and people want to see snappy clips one after another." And then now they're proof of concept of people with no cuts, just talking in the single take for 50 minutes at a time, and there's a massive audience for that. And like, wow, yeah,
Yeah.
it's different. Like YouTube has changed even from just 6 years ago. Seven, yeah.
It's like YouTube has just diversified
Mm,
so much more than it ever did.
yeah.
And I don't know, nothing really else to say. It's just like, just gotta be good. It's
Mm,
the only thing.
mm,
I don't know. It is back to like the Lewis point where you haven't really found like your, I guess, kind of motivation to continue, not continue, but like to put in as much effort as you want to put in and stuff like that. Is it also because like you're not really doing topics you care about as much anymore? Or it's like it's just not like, it's not like lighting your brain up as much as some previous topics maybe.
No, I think I'm quite excited about the topics I picked. I feel like it's down to resistance at the end where I can. This is an idea where I talked to Paul about verbatim, where I would, be working on something I love, and yet there's like this resistance that I feel to sit down and actually work on it. Um, Sometimes I would, like when I'm scripting, for instance, I would be so excited about this idea, I would start walking around in my room. Would be alone in this room, this very room, and I would just walk around in circle, thinking about the exciting things I'm about to write down on my script and get to share with the world. But there seems to be there seems to be someone invisible that's like pushing me away from my chair as to prevent me actually sit down and type that out. And when I do sit down and start typing it out, I have this voice in my head that says, "Oh my God, Lewis, you suck. I can't believe you just write down that sentence. The sentence you just wrote down, Lewis, is the worst sentence that anyone has ever wrote down in history. That was so bad. You should stop typing right now. This is the worst thing ever." Right? So I don't know how to explain this, but there's like this mental resistance that's like trying to stop me from actually making contact with the work. And it's not because I hate the work. I love the work. I love doing the work. I would love the work right until the moment I actually start doing it. Right before I do it, I would feel excited about it. I would be away from my desk, just a few feet away from my desk, walking back and forth, feeling all excited about this amazing topic, this great idea I get to share with the world. But the moment I sit down, first it's hard to sit down. It's already hard to sit down in front of my computer. Once I sit down in front of a computer and start typing, oh my God, it's like some invisible force that's stopping me from actually making contact with the material. When I actually push through that resistance, that resistance only lasts for like maybe 10 minutes at most. But if I just push through it as I'm typing on my script, for instance, into the Word document, if I just ignore that voice that's judging me to the best of my ability, and I push through that, after about 10 minutes, the voice kind of quiet down and things just flow. And I love that. But I don't always push through it. Sometimes I don't. And that's when,
Mm.
a 5-day video took
Mm.
2 weeks to complete. And I hate myself the entire time.
I
Um,
know exactly what you mean there. I There's a lot of different tricks actually because I've struggled with that a lot myself. And I've tried a lot of different tricks. Some works for a little bit, some work for longer. I don't think anything works forever, like
Mm.
because you it's so hard to convince your brain to work sometimes. Like I tried the kitchen clock counter, the Pomodoro. I've tried like
Mm.
breaking down things into like small steps to just convince myself to do. Like the small step thing, I think is from a book, but it's interesting. Instead of like thinking of the entire project as the entire project, it looks so monumental, you have so much left to do. Think about it as like, okay, what's the next smallest action, Like, all right, I need to start scripting. So the next smallest action is sit down. The next smallest action is to turn on computer. The next smallest, and you think about it in like one micro action at a time. And that kind of slowly gets you through that kind of really big resistance because sometimes the big resistance comes from the fact that you see just this mountain level of work that you still need to accomplish before you publish that video, right? So yeah, but exactly like what you said, once you get past, like once I get past that initial like I don't want to do it for
Mm.
like 5-10 minutes, then I get into like a semi flow state where I'm more willing to do it. I'm more willing to
Mm.
keep going with it and stuff like that. But yeah, man, not every trick works for me for a long time. I need to keep finding new tricks to
Mm.
kind of convince myself to work. So no, I get what you mean. That's why I said in the beginning that it feels more like a very personal problem that you're gonna
Mm.
need to just find different strategies and keep trying new things to get yourself to work. There's no like a one size fit all solution because I've tried so many.
yeah. Yeah, I need to figure this out before I have kids. Unfortunately, I can't use that as a leverage. Like that's too big of a risk to take. I need to at least be financially stable before bring another human into the world.
I heard
Uh,
uh, I heard that like restrictions or limitations sometimes make you work harder
mm.
because having more freedom makes you work less.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. You know what's
Yeah.
interesting to me? Back when I had a full-time job as a corporate consultant, I was working on average 70 hours a week. Um,
Now you work on average like 7 minutes a day. That's what it feels like, you know.
and I was releasing one video a week, and then I quit my job, and the immediate month following, I was also releasing one video a week. And I was like, I was working 70 hours a week on this job I hate that drains the soul out of my body, and I still managed to release a video a week. But now I have no job, and I'm releasing the same amount of videos where I'm
Right.
working on the video every day. Like how is that possible?
Yeah,
Um,
it really is a fallacy that you need to quit your job in a way to like allow yourself more time to
mm,
do the things that when in reality is that you can do so much with the time that you have even if you have a full-time job. Like
mm,
for me, like every 3 hours I know I have to feed him, I know I have to change his diaper, and that can last like an hour or 2 hours long depending on like if he's crying afterward, is he fuzzy, is like with that amount of time that I have to invest into taking care of him, I actually have less time to work than ever before. But
mm,
how am I releasing more videos? How am
mm.
I accomplishing more tasks than before I had him? It doesn't
Yeah,
make sense. But it does. Like giving a limit to putting yourself in like a cage in a way, setting limitations, setting rules actually help like at least help me, and of course it helped you yourself too to accomplish more, you know? Like
yeah.
you do so much more with your time.
Yeah.
If you know you really don't have that much
Yeah.
in a day to do it.
Yeah, it's like every week when I had a full-time job, I was like on a Sunday afternoon, the thought was, this YouTube project that I care about so deeply, this is the only 2 hours I have this week to work on it. So
Exactly, that's the feeling.
yeah. And then once I quit my job, the feeling is like, oh, I get to like enjoy like every bit of this adventure of YouTube. I get to do it full time. Let's just take our time, no pressure. Let's kind of
Exactly,
my
dude.
forward.
That
Yeah.
is exactly the feeling. It's like, damn it, I only have 2 hours, then I have to go to sleep to make it to work the next day.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like I only have like an hour and a half before this guy wakes up and like takes up hours of my time. So it's
Mm,
like I need to get as much done as possible, cram it all in. Like I don't
Yeah.
have time for other things.
Yeah.
And you end up
mm,
just doing so much more.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like I don't know how you can fit that into your life now as it stands because you don't really have any hard restrictions, right? So you
Mm,
kind of have to kind of set your own, which is not easy because it's
mm,
hard to be your own boss. I think that is the things that people don't talk about with full-time content creation is how hard it is to manage yourself. You are
yeah.
your own worst possible employee at
Yeah.
a lot of given moments.
Yeah.
It's
I
like, and you
remember.
can't even fire yourself. Sucks.
Yeah. All the consequences are not technically real when you're managing yourself. Um.
Yeah, exactly. You can
Yeah.
because you can just give yourself like a pat in the back, like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember watching this podcast before I started a YouTube channel. I think it was around 2020. This podcast called Trash Taste. I think that was when that podcast first started. So that there are three YouTubers. They're all in Japan, and they've been doing YouTube for a while, and they decided to start this podcast together. And it's the first couple of episodes. So the podcasters are talking about their own individual journey of content creation. And one of the things they kept repeating in that podcast was they're like, "Oh, it's so nice that we have a podcast together because now that we have a podcast together, now we have a schedule." Before in my life, I had no schedule, and I hated
uh,
that. So now that we
uh,
have a podcast, we have a schedule. There's somewhere I have to be, even though I don't feel like going there. I have to be there to be with you guys to film this podcast. So this is some
mm,
structure in my life, some hard deadlines, some real accountability. And
mm.
I remember watching that, and I was remember thinking, these motherfuckers, like, the biggest complaint they have in life is an absence of structure. Oh my God. That's the biggest thing they have, right? So whatever this job called YouTube is, if the biggest pain is the absence of structure, I want that job. I think I can
And
handle.
then and
I
then
think I
you
can handle an absence of
yeah,
structure.
and then
Yeah,
you realize later that it is the hardest thing ever to handle a lack of
yeah,
structure. It
yeah,
is so much harder than you would ever believe.
yeah. It's actually a real problem and not a pseudo problem. I used to
Yeah,
think it was a
it's
pseudo problem. Yeah.
hmm
Hmm.
that's why I think like when I had ever since I had a son and he gave me even more structure to my life, that's why I was able to accomplish more.
Mm,
Because
Mm,
now there is a schedule. Like the and working for my friend also has like comes with its own schedule as well. I'm able to do more working for him because I have deadline to for his things as well. But this guy next to me gives me like a deadline every 3 hours, so it's like I need to get shit done. Even right now when I'm on this call for you guys, I'm just editing at the same time.
mm,
mm,
Like you just find pockets of time to do whatever, like do
mm,
whatever you can. It's a lot of
mm,
tasks you can do while you're talking to friends. There's a lot of, errands you can do while you're occupied with a friend. Some tasks you need to do alone, like hard focus. But right now I'm not doing any of hard editing. I'm like preparing like different pictures and inserts that I know I want.
oh,
I'm
okay.
like putting stuff on the timeline. I didn't really like do micro adjustment to make them perfect, but I'm just placing
Right,
things. I'm doing things that I can
right.
while at the same time talking to you guys that will still progress my work
Mm,
and stuff like that.
mm,
And that's all just born out of necessity. Like I need to do this, or else this would just never get done. And then soon he'll wake up, and then I'll have very little time left, and I still need to
mm,
sleep. So,
yeah.
so So what's the lesson today? Have a kid. You will
Have a
succeed
kid.
faster. I just
Have a
have a
kid
kid.
now.
Yep. Have a kid now, succeed.
Later. Have a kid now,
Succeed.
succeed later.
No, no, succeed faster, Paul. Succeed
Faster, okay.
faster.
But you have to wait until the kid is born to have the effect.
Oh yeah, that's a
10
problem is
months.
that you
Yeah,
have to wait. Like, it doesn't come immediately. Like it's a 9 month process.
it's a 9 month lag time
Yeah, 9 month
for
lag
implementation.
time for you to feel the effect. But like it's honestly, it's I don't know, man. It's one of those things where you learn later once you quit your job, and Lewis had just experienced that firsthand. That structure is something that most people actually need,
Hmm.
rather
Hmm.
than something to throw away. Because when you're working 9 to 5, you want to throw that away. You don't appreciate it as much until you don't have it, and it's like, damn it, I get nothing done.
Mm.
Yeah, it was funny. I read that in a book. The guy who wrote Steal Like an Artist wrote in Keep Going. He said, uh, you'll be surprised what having a regular work uh, gives you in terms of it could fuel your creative endeavor by having a regular job that you have to go to on a consistent basis.
Mm.
And he wrote that in the book, and I was like, damn, I never really considered that until I read that in the book. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I need a different way to trigger my productivity and creativity that is not a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
Like I have yet to regret quitting my 9 to 5 job. Like
Mm-hmm.
having that job was so destroying of my sanity and my soul that I don't care how productive it makes me. It just isn't worth it from a
Mm-hmm.
sanity perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it needs to be replaced with something else.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not a kid right away, but some other things that
Mm-hmm.
keeps me accountable.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't destroy my soul, but does make me more productive. Um, yeah, something else. I need to figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the really hard part. It's very individualistic.
Hmm.
I guess I used to do daily calls with Niels to be accountability buddies on that.
Mm.
So I found those did help to an extent because I was like, when we used to have daily calls, I was like, oh shit, he's gonna check up on me when he calls tomorrow. Like I have to have something to show for it, or else uh, I'll
Mm.
it's too many days in a row where I'm like I haven't worked on YouTube, and he's working hard. Like and so
Yeah.
those accountability calls did help.
Mm.
How is
Yeah.
Neil doing? I haven't seen him and I haven't talked to
Yeah,
him in ages.
yeah, he's coming to Toronto in August to stay with me for 3 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah, so he's excited about that. He's making one video a week. He reduced it from two to one, and he's trying to make them bangers. He's still waking
mm.
up at 4 something a.m. To work on YouTube for a couple hours before he goes to school. Um,
That's a lot more impressive since he's like actually a teenager. It
yeah,
was way harder to wake up early when I was a teenager. It was almost impossible.
yeah,
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. Yeah.
yeah.
Neil is pretty disciplined. That's one thing I admire about him too, is that he
Mm.
can be disciplined.
He just turned
And I feel
18
like he
years
can
old. Yeah.
continue to be disciplined.
Mm. And he's having these productivity high ticket. He has some people that he's coaching through productivity coaching.
Mm.
Gabby is one of the people that he's coaching, and he's once he has testimonials, I think he's gonna start charging. Um,
Mm.
yeah, so that's his business plan. Um, I think it's gonna be like a few $100 to start, maybe 300-400 bucks or something like that.
I can see him becoming like successful someday. I think just the work ethics alone
Mm.
would trump all of any kind of deficiencies in
Mm.
ideas or anything like that. Because I do have my like criticism of his content I told him before, but I think just through sheer level of hard work and discipline, he's gonna overcome pretty much anything.
Mm.
So fast or slow, is discipline really does beat all.
Mm.
But it's so hard to have discipline. It's super hard. Even now, I try
uh,
my best.
uh. Well, you're. It seems like your baby's figuring out that for you.
Oh yeah, yep. It's much easier to just have something external.
Mm.
Um, and I find that to be true for many other parts of my life too. And I look back at the times that I was the most active, the times where I was making the most progress in whatever I was doing is often times where like there are restrictions, there are deadlines, there are, external circumstances that would be really shit if I don't get my shit together, you know?
Mm.
And those kind of like always light a fire under my ass to like actually put out work. And
Mm-hmm.
those are the times where I progress the most. The times I don't progress are the times where like before, where it's just I'm free.
Mm.
I
Hmm.
have my own schedule. I don't have like any like external responsibilities that are massive. Then I just become lazy.
Mm.
It's
What about you, Lewis? Are you interested in daily check-in calls?
We could, yeah, we could give it a try.
Give it a try. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd be
it's
willing to set a time with you every day to call to hop on a call and because I found it did help me when I was having daily calls with Niels. Now he calls once a week, but
mm,
yeah, when I had those daily calls, those were the times I was maybe uploading maybe once a week, maybe not even, and I was slacking back then. That was over a year ago, year and 4 months ago, or something like that. Um,
mm,
or year and 5 months, something like that. Back in 2023, end of 2023. Yeah. So
mm,
summer to end of 2023 is I was struggling hard with, um, and that's when I started daily calls with Niels, and then actually it was during that time that I started uploading daily, and I did that for 174 days. It ended up leading to that at that point, but yeah, those daily calls were helpful. So if you want to try it, I'm totally down.
yeah, yeah. Let's see. Um, Maybe we can set a cadence of either daily or weekly. Um, I'm already doing things based on a 3 week sprint. What I mean by
Mm.
that is I set a bunch of stuff to accomplish. I will execute them until completion in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then after 3 weeks, whether or not I finish the things I set out to do, I will stop and do a reflection on my performance. And
Oh,
that will be the basis with which I'll decide what to do for the next 3 weeks. So I'm already doing things based on that cadence.
do you write
Um,
your reflections and type it out or something like that?
We'll be
yeah,
right
yeah.
back to use the bathroom.
Okay.
Sorry, what was that,
Oh, he's
Timmy?
going. He's going to the bathroom. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's like I do write them out. So to each things I want to accomplish in those 3 week period, I would write them
Mm-hmm.
down. That
Mm-hmm.
would be my task. I call them user story, but they're
Mm-hmm.
just a description of what I want to accomplish and how I define completion. And then as I'm working on them, if I find out something interesting, I will note them down under that specific ticket. So
Mm-hmm.
if the ticket says make 5 videos, and then as I'm working on one of the video, I realize, oh, I tend to procrastinate right after I wake up. So it would be useful if I try to get to my desk right away after I wake up. So I'll just write
Mm-hmm.
that down under that specific ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of these 3 weeks, I would look at everything I thought I was going to accomplish at the beginning of those 3 weeks, what I wrote down in terms of the lessons while I'm executing them, and then I'll kind of
Mm-hmm.
think back on how I can improve, and then that will kind of decide what I'll do next for the next 3 weeks. So I'm already kind of doing things based on that cadence.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One of the reasons I don't want to do these kind of reflection too frequently is because just my personality tends to be just leaning towards analysis more than execution.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I would just analyze things and not doing them, and I would just be analyzing all the time. And the the act of analyzing in and of itself makes me feel productive. It makes me feel like I've accomplished something when I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
And I end up becoming a sort of armchair expert where I'm just talking about what I'll do and strategizing it and planning it, and that's all I do, and I never execute. Um, I found that about me in the past, so I now try to leave more time to execute. And when I'm executing, I try not to reflect, so I don't just get dopamine just from reflecting and
Mm-hmm.
actually get the things done. And when it's time to reflect, and then I sit down and just reflect. Um, so I can definitely do like a call every 3 week if you want to work with my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And we can maybe try being more frequent with those calls. One thing I don't want to do is to start talking about what I will do and what I have done, and get all the dopamine from that instead of actually
Mm-hmm.
doing the thing.
Although I
Uh,
guess the one thing I want to say is the whole point about the benefits that I got from the daily calls was is not checking on the plan action plan. It was always checking on did I take action yesterday,
mm,
and that's why that accountability of like, oh, tomorrow I have to tell him, uh, did I actually do anything? Um, and there was that pressure that I was like, today, yesterday I kind of slacked off, and he's like, Paul, what are you doing?
yeah,
Set us, what are you doing? Like you have all the time, but use it. And then it was just that constant pressure of,
yeah,
yeah. So it was like it's not about the plan. It's all about did you execute? Did you do what you said you were gonna do? And it's constant checkup on that. Did you execute? Did you execute? Did you execute? And it's creating pressure from that.
mm,
So that's what was helpful for me,
mm,
and that's why weekly calls I don't call them accountability calls anymore because they're just check-ins to see how we're doing. But it was the daily calls that were really accountability calls. We were keeping ourselves accountable to did we do what we said we were gonna do
mm,
on a daily basis, because if you don't do it on a daily basis, you can say, oh yeah, I worked on it, but you only worked on it for like 2 hours one day out of 3 days. So like it's the daily calls that really helped me. But yeah, um, that's still up to you if you wanna try it or not. I'll leave
mm,
it up to you. Yeah.
yeah. We can maybe try for a week or something. We
Yeah.
set up like a series for a week at the end of
Yeah.
the day
Mm-hmm.
where we talk about what we have done. Um, is there anything you're aiming to accomplish in the next week at all? Are you in
Right. A 1 week
like a
sprint.
workload?
We can try a 1 week sprint.
Mhm.
Um, let's see. Uh, what do I want to accomplish in the next week? Yeah. Okay. There are a couple videos that have been sitting in my folders that I have yet to edit for like months now.
Mm,
I want to get to those finally so that I clear all the backlog of unused footage. I want to use them and make videos on them.
mm,
Yeah, if I don't give myself a deadline, I keep procrastinating that. So I want to get that done within the next week.
mm,
And um and uh I have some video ideas. Like one is you should start a video journal. That's one of my video ideas.
mm.
And then one is eating this for that double spiciness and filming that. Um, yeah, so I've got like a few video ideas. Catfish times. I don't know if I want to talk about that. I might, but like there are a few video ideas that I have sitting around. If I can
Mm.
execute on those video ideas, I think that would be a worthy goal that I could do within a week.
Mm.
Um, so if we were actually seriously gonna do this, I would actually write out the specific videos that I'm gonna make, and I would target to make those within the next week.
Nice,
As
nice.
well as yeah. So that's what I'd do if we were gonna seriously do this for 1 week.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm
What
actually
about you?
just, yeah, yesterday was the day I completed my previous 3 week sprint,
Yeah.
and I failed royally. The plan was to make 5 videos, and I made two.
Oh wow.
So,
Okay.
and I made two. And there were some other tasks as well. I did complete them.
Mhm.
Um, I think there was one where I was supposed to write out the tiers for my Patreon
Mhm.
and publish those, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Oh
I've
my
done
God,
that.
Lewis,
Yeah.
you haven't done that yet.
Wait, what was that?
You haven't done that yet.
Oh, he
The
did he did the Patreon
I did
tiers. I saw that.
I did the Patreon tier. I didn't complete the create 5 video task. I aimed to complete 5 videos. 3 weeks ago, I only did two in 3 weeks.
Oh,
Um,
I was thinking because like when you say Patreon tier, I remember you asking me about that like a couple months ago.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, a couple of months ago, yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And I never got around to putting a ticket for it until I think 3 weeks ago, so I did that. Now I had my Patreon for a while, but there were no tiers. It's just a Patreon, and then the description is like, "Thanks for supporting me," or something
Mhm.
generic. But now it's actually polished with some kind of personality I want to portray on that page.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, let's see.
What would you want to get done within a week sprint?
So I would actually plan out my 3 week run first,
Oh, I
and then I
see.
would
And then
plan out
afterwards, one.
what the
Yeah.
first week will be, and then do that with you.
Right. Okay.
Um, I think there were a couple of ideas I wanted to try. For example, like I have a generic goal to have 3 focused work bouts per day.
Mhm.
Each work bout is about 90 minutes. So
Mhm.
I just want to have 3 very focused session. That was kind of my generic goal.
Mhm.
But every morning sit in front of my desk, kind of expecting myself to do three. And
Mhm.
that's kind of not helpful because I would start working and would be like, oh, this is only the first one. I can kind of relax. I have two more kind of thing. So I'm not
Mhm.
as intense as I'd like to be with those work bouts.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking of just changing that to at least having one real work bout per day.
Mhm.
Maybe try that for the next 3 weeks. Um, I also want to reduce lag time between tasks during a work bout. I found that to actually be an interesting trick to try. Um, so, for example, if I'm scripting, I would have a sentence in my mind that I think I should type out, but I would start judging that sentence. I would think that's the worst sentence that anyone has ever come up with. And it becomes incredibly hard to actually type that out, given how harshly I'm judging myself on that sentence. But if I give myself a deadline, let's say 2 seconds, I have to push out every sentence that comes out of my mind within 2 seconds. Just reduce the amount of time I have
Mhm.
between the idea and actually putting that on the page. Last time I tried that, I got into a semi-flow state, and I made a lot of progress with my script. So I was thinking of trying that every day for the next
Mhm.
3 weeks. So things like that. But I'll think about that some more and have the next 3 weeks ready, and then we can
Okay.
kind of maybe get on a call to see how we want to do the 1 week sprint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me know when you finish your 3 week plan and your 1 week plan after that, and then we'll talk about setting up the 1 week sprint then.
Yeah.
And we'll see if it's worth it, the daily check-ins for 1 week.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah, I'm back by the way. Did I ever say I was back?
Oh yeah, well we heard you asking about the Patreon tier,
Oh
so
yeah, that's true. Oh my god,
So,
I'm just
so,
like multitasking. I forgot that I already asked that.
so we knew you were back from that. Uh, hmm.
I have a 3-hour check-in.
Oh. Oh,
Every
right.
time.
Yeah. Every 3 hours you have a check-in. Damn. It's crazy that you naturally have like a night shift. I mean, most parents don't have that, right? Because they don't stay up all night.
No,
Oh, yeah.
the schedule is very natural for me. It's not even a challenge. I'm like, I'm
That's
already up at this time.
that's crazy good for you guys. Yeah, that's crazy good.
Mm.
Hmm. Okay, it's 2 p.m. here. I'm getting hungry, so I'm gonna eat some lunch now.
Nice. I think I'll do that too.
Oh, cool. Yeah, 11 a.m. over there. So. Okay.
Later, folks.
Until next time. Bye bye.
See you
Bye bye.
guys.
See ya.